Good morning, good morning, good morning. Kiss up to God. To God be the glory for all the wonderful works that He's done. Thank you, God, for another do over. Thank you, God, for another day to be in the land of the living. Thank you for life, health, and strength. Thank you, God, for just loving us and those brand new grace and brand new mercies that you grant us every day. And God, if we have the opportunity, please allow us the opportunity to say I'm sorry. Because I'm sorry can restore and can recover a whole lot of things. Good morning. Happy Thursday. My name is Jennifer Brooks. I am your Southern Belle. I haven't been on in a couple of days. I think I'm cold is trying to catch up to me and I'm running as fast as I can because the last thing I need to do is be sick, especially around my students. Um, Thank you for joining me today. Hey, I don't know if I should have named it Why Hasn't God Answered My Prayers, or why hasn't He given me what He promised? Because in the word, He promised if we, live under Him, He promised if we do this, He promised that He will answer our prayers. But you know what? There's some things or steps that we really have to deal with, or we really have to recognize or realize we have to do before we can even get the promises of God. Because once He gives us these things, are we ready? And that's the first thing. The first thing is God has to prepare us for the promise. Because I think sometimes we ask for things that we're not really, really ready for. And God knows that we're not ready for it. So He has to prepare us for the blessings, because once we get it, it's going to be so tremendous. It's going to be so overwhelming that we really have to be ready for it. Because sometimes when we do get our blessings, we sure find ways of messing it up. Oh, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. We sure can find a way to mess up some blessings. So I think he has to prepare us for our blessings. And then he has to teach us patience. And I know that's one thing that me and a lot of us do not have is patience. He has to teach us patience to wait on what we really, really want. Because patience is such a hard, I think that has to be like one of the hardest things to do. Besides loving your enemy, is being patient for what we need, for patience for the things that we want, patience to know that we're gonna get, what God wants us to have. Not all the time what we want to have, not all the time what we want, but what He wants us to have, because He knows what we need. So we really need patience, and patience is got to be one of the hardest things to deal with. Is patience, and He's strengthening our faith. Because the one thing that you need to do anything, works without faith is dead. You need the faith. You need to have your faith strong, because sometimes what we're praying on, what we're praying for, is gonna take that faith. And what it say, you just need the faith of a mustard seed. That's a smaller seed ever, but you still need it, and you have to strengthen that mustard seed. You have to plant it, and you have to be patient enough for the tree to grow. But you have to have faith to know that whenever God gives you what He wants you to have, that it's yours, and it's for you. But we have to have faith to know that God is true to His word. And we have to learn how to keep our eyes on Him, not on what we're praying for, not on what we want, but keep our eyes on Him. Stay focused on God and trust Him. Trust to know that God will do what He said He's going to do. Trust and keep your eyes, as they say, keep your eyes on the prize, because God will not fail. He will not fail you at all. So we have to trust Him. And I think the most vital one is sometimes He never promised you. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe He hasn't answered your prayer because He never promised you what you was asking for. Because we have a way of feeling like, okay, that was a promise from God. But I think it's difficult to separate, like, okay, what I really want, that's me, the flesh me, and what I really need that God is going to provide for me. It is different because we want a whole lot of things, and He never promised that. So we're waiting and waiting and waiting for something that He didn't promise. And we find ourselves getting frustrated, I think I had one. Instead of being focused, we find ourselves being angry at God. We find ourselves, losing faith, of course, losing patience. We stop trusting Him on something that He never promised us. You got to think about it in that sense. If you're asking and praying for something, sit back and be like, you know what? Is this what I want? Or is this what I need? Is this what I think that God want me to have? Or is this what God really want me to have? Because if it's His will, and if we practice these things like being patient, and if we prepare ourselves for what God wants us to have, and if we keep our eyes on Him and we trust Him, and we have the faith to walk in His word and to know, then maybe it is for us. But if we're sitting up here frustrated and mad and angry and wondering, I can't believe that, if God said this and God said this and look what's happening, maybe He didn't promise you that. That might not have been one of the promises of God. But I know He promised never to leave us or forsake us. I know that's a promise to all His children. And He never has. No matter what you go through, no matter what's going on, He has never forsaken us. We are the ones that fall back on Him because we don't have these promises that we think that God has for us. So think about it and sit back and just wonder and ponder on some of the things that we're waiting for, some of the things that we feel like that God promised us. Some of the things, go back to the word and read the promises of God. He has a lot of them. I think it's over 700 promises in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken. He has a lot of promises that He promises us. But separate it. See if that's the promise of God or is that our lustly flesh wanting things, because some things we are not prepared to handle. Some things we don't know. We don't, when we get it, we ain't gonna know what to do with it anyway. Some things are not for us. Everything that you see is not for us or not for who we are, because God already knows from the womb. He already knew when He created us who we were and what we were gonna be, and His promises to us. But as usual, we're human. He knows that we're gonna get off that little path here and there. That some things are we're gonna go ahead of Him and do and mess up, and some things He already knows that. But still, He sits back and He waits. His patience are forever. They're everlasting because He's a patient God with me. And I know He's probably patient with you. So just think about the promises of God and really realize, are they the promises of Him, or do we think they're the promises of Him, or He didn't promise it and we're just sitting back waiting and we're losing our patience for something He never promised. Just think about it. It's a short one today, but I just wanted to come on just to talk a little bit today about that, because I'm dealing with that. Like, okay, God, you said if I did this, this was gonna happen. If I did that, that was gonna happen. And I really did have to really, really pray and ask God to come to me with certain things and some things that He has not shown to me yet or came to me yet. I had to realize this last one too, maybe because it's not what He promised me. Okay, if you think anybody needs to hear this, please share it. I really, 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 really would appreciate it. And keep being patient and keep waiting, because if He promised it, it is for you. You will get it. Just be patient. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jennifer Brooks. I am your Southern Belle, and I am on the right road now. You guys get off that, don't get off that path, because the promises of God are coming. All right. God bless.